So today I'm going to talk specifically about some types of exercises to avoid while pregnant. We get this question so often from clients who come in that are pregnant, and they ask us, what can I do and what shouldn't I do? There's a lot of uncertain information you can find on the internet. One website will tell you one thing, one website will tell you another. We definitely need more research in this area, but we do know that you can exercise while pregnant and it is safe and good and healthy, so long as your healthcare provider hasn't told you you're on any precautions or any reasons you shouldn't exercise. So long as your healthcare provider says that you are fine to exercise during pregnancy, these tips are going to help you out. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you you can't do a squat, you can't raise your arms overhead. There's really not a way to tell every person that a specific exercise is bad for pregnancy. Okay. But today's tips are going to go over, if you are doing an exercise, how to know if it's good and safe for you and for the baby. Okay. If you've got specific questions about exercises, then that's where it would be really important to work with a trained women's health physical therapist, such as Brooke or myself here at Legacy, or wherever you are watching this, so that you can get a good individualized assessment and plan for your specific goals and your questions. Okay. So the 5 types of exercises I'm going to go over today are a little more general, but it will also provide you information to know if you're good to do that exercise or not. Okay. So number 1, if you are questioning whether or not your ego is taking over, okay, then it's probably not the right type of exercise for you. So if you are doing an exercise and you're questioning, should I do this or could I do this? The answer is more than likely going to be no. Maybe it's yes, but it's quite possibly going to be no. So if that little intuition inside says this might not be a good thing for me, listen to the intuition, make some modifications, change what you're doing, and do something different. Okay. So don't let your ego get in the way. Pregnancy is not the time to let your ego get out of control when it comes to exercise. Okay. Number 2, if you notice something if you notice or feel like your abdomen is bulging out. So if you're noticing that your belly is pushing outward with an exercise, it's doming, it looks like there's a big hump in the center, that is a big no-no during pregnancy. And I would definitely suggest you modify what you're doing. Reason being is that you're not managing your pressure well, and all of that pressure is pushing out your belly. And no woman that I know wants their belly to push out any further. So you might just want to modify the exercise you're doing, or do something totally different, or avoid that one specific exercise, which should be happening as you are tightening your abdominal wall or doing an exercise. I mean, it could be as simple as a bicep curl, and you could notice your belly bulging outward. But if you're trying to get the right movement to happen on your belly should be kind of wrapping and drawing inward, not pushing outward. Okay, so you can see this. I see this all the time, even in simple arm movements, like bicep curls, shoulder press. I see it with squats. Definitely things where you are using the abdominals as well, which you don't want to overtrain your abdominals, of course, when you are pregnant, but it's really, really commonly seen in movements that you're not even aware of. So just keep an eye on that, or if you're working with a trainer or fitness professional, please make sure you're watching that your belly's not pushing outward, that you're actually letting the abdominals draw inward, or they're just kind of staying where they are. Okay. Number 3 is avoid any exercise that causes pain or discomfort. So kind of like the ego, this is not a time to have a no more pain, more gain situation. It is an indicator, if you are having pain or discomfort, that something's not going right. Okay, your body is good at telling you that something is wrong. So it could be something from the weight that you're lifting, to your breathing, to your alignment, to how the muscles themselves are activating as you're doing an exercise. So if you are working with a trainer or fitness professional and something hurts, make sure they know and ask for some modifications, or ask them to kind of watch you move and see if they can come up with what's going on and what's causing the pain or discomfort. Working with a women's health physical therapist, they can assess the same thing. So your best bet is to just modify or change if something is hurting, or have somebody with some specific training look at that movement and see how they can make that more effective and less painful for you. Okay. Number 4 is one of my favorite things to talk about during pregnancy, because we hear all the time, if you leak urine a little bit, so a little urine comes out, it's just a typical pregnancy sign and symptom. It is common, but it is not normal. So just because you leak a smidge while you're pregnant during exercise does not mean that that's just something to, continue on with that exercise or just ignore. Okay. A lot of reasons that leakage can occur while you're pregnant. And if you are routinely leaking with a squat, overhead movement, impact activities, then it's time to seek out some help to understand why you're leaking, but to also, if you are not in the space to find somebody to help you figure that out, then just to avoid it or change what you're doing so you're not repetitively causing bladder leakage. Okay. The last one, and women commonly, I hear that they have this, but they don't really do much about it, is that if you feel a bulging sensation or heaviness in the perineal area. So the perineum is the tissue that is right in between the vaginal opening and the anus, and it connects the two. So the perineum is just a body of tissue. But what women tend to feel is, if this is the pelvis here, they tend to feel this like really heavy sagging sensation. They will feel a bulge. If you're noticing any of those symptoms when you are exercising during pregnancy, it is really time to modify what you're doing or avoid those exercises. Same thing, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but if you are feeling those things and you want them to be assessed so that you can minimize what you're feeling or avoid what you're feeling, just like leakage, just like pain, is to really work with the women's health physical therapist to find out the reason why you're feeling those things. And a lot of leakage, a lot of pain, a lot of perineal pressure can come from breathing. It can come from weakness. It can come from muscles not coordinating correctly. I haven't said it already, alignment and posture. So there's a lot of factors in why women, when they're pregnant, can feel these things. And definitely it's best to just avoid them or change what you're doing to minimize the symptoms. But if you'd like to work with somebody who can actually come up with the why, as far as why you're feeling those things while you're exercising, work with a pelvic physical therapist or women's health physical therapist. Okay. So, number 1, if you question your ego, modify or change the exercise. If you feel like your belly is bulging, modify or change. If you feel like you've got pain or discomfort with an exercise, modify it and change. Causes leakage, same thing. Or if you feel the bulging in your perineal region or kind of in the vaginal region, do the same thing. Avoid, change, modify. Okay.